is. Alright, we are live. Hold on. Yeah, everyone can hear me, I think. Okay. Yeah, I got a few emails saying that there were some problems. So, anyways, let's actually first, before we begin, this is week 2 of Web Launch Academy's first course. So I appreciate everyone who is still here, and we'll definitely get you a website. I think everyone who got through the first week, I think if you're able to do the Ubuntu stuff and set up all that, I think you'll be basically good. Unfortunately, yeah, there's been a few like little bumps in the road, like I kind of said there would be, and so one of those was like the Ubuntu thing. I fixed the textbook to include a critical piece. So where it talks about Ubuntu, yeah, okay. I just want to make sure the screen is displaying. So where it talks about Ubuntu, oh, hold on. Is this not, it's not going. It's not able to do control find. Yeah. So this is what I forgot to put before. It says make sure you're in Ubuntu terminal, not Windows command prompt. Start authentication setup, Claude auth login. Test that everything works. Although, hold on. I don't know if being in WSL, no, WSL should be working. WSL, it should work if you're in WSL or slash Ubuntu. I think it's better to be in Ubuntu though, than this little guy. So, because WSL looks like this. And so you can run that. It's technically Linux though, so. But anyway, that's now added. So I didn't have that before. I noticed the screenshot was command prompt, and so I apologize. Other than that, should be pretty much good. Chapter 1 should be good. The other bug was in my recording. So I also don't have, for some reason I can't connect to my video. I'm not sure if that's a problem with within the like within the code, and it's not able to connect. It's very strange though. It seems like it's trying to connect and it can't. I thought I had that totally fixed, but yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Then if anyone can't log in, let's talk. Let's do a check-in session. Let's schedule a check-in session. I also just want to do check-ins for anyone, just because it's been a week, and so I want to see how everyone's doing. I kind of want to talk to you face to face. So if you just want to do like a 15-minute check-in, I think that would be really helpful for everybody. It'll be helpful for you. It'll be helpful for me. And yeah, let's do that. Anyway, on to chapter 2. So I left last time with a cliffhanger. And I really didn't mean to do that. But I thought it was kind of funny. So let me just get this going here. So cd ls. So what were we doing? We were in the Ramsey coach, right? So we go cd Ramsey coach. So let me just go back over these commands. So cd is change directory. We made Ramsey coach a directory by using makedir, right? mkdir. ls is just list the different files. And it's important to note, when you make a new directory with mkdir, you don't automatically go into that directory. So you're not automatically in the file Ramsey coach. So you actually have to do mkdir and then cd space whatever you created. That always kind of like throws me off. So just thought I'd include that. So what we had, what we had was a bunch of code, and let me pull that up. Let me pull up our beautiful prompt. Let's just pull up that prompt somewhere. It's somewhere around here. Sorry, I'm just looking for this code. Okay. I think I got the... Yeah, I think I got the whole prompt. Okay, so I got it. And I'll just copy and paste the entire thing. So what we do is we go into Claude. You hit yes. So then we can just do this. We copy and pasted the entire prompt that I had from before. And we hit enter. And watch it do its magic. So we'll just have that kind of going. Okay, hold on. Obtain a new token. Oh yeah, you have to do /login. Okay. So you select number 1 on that. Yeah, if you get this, just do run/login. And then you copy, or you run it like this. Continue, authorize, and you prompt that big code. So yeah, if you ever get that error, just do that. And I guess oh, hold on. I want to make sure that, yeah. Well, I want to look at, I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. So I actually want to go into the right file. So open folder. And so this is where I go into this file, open folder. So this is so you're in the same spot that your directory is in. So what we want to do is we want to go into the Ramsey coach. Okay. And it'll restart too. So kind of restart everything. So we can close this out. This is like the agent. What we can do is you can click this button, and that opens up a pane below. You can also do on the sides, but I just like the look of having it below. So now we are back to this. So we're back in the port terminal. And I should also kind of show you these things. So there's no, I don't know if these are like, I've never used any of these tabs when I'm in Claude. So this one is fine. This one is for like testing. And you'll see later when you run a test. And I'll do this. I'll actually do that while I'm here. So oops. I forgot to, I don't know what happened there. So escape. No, I don't know what's going on. But what is going on here? I went into something that I really didn't expect. Sorry about this. This is like wild. Hold on. Let's delete that. We go into Claude. Claude code, same as last time. Now we're in the right spot. Okay. So now we paste our prompt and press enter, and now it should work. I don't think I need to sign in again. Yeah, so now it's thinking. So you can do Control O to look at like, okay, not yet. I'll help you build this Next.js website. It's a comprehensive project. So it breaks it down into tasks. This is kind of just like the thinking process of it all. And so it'll ask, do I proceed? And you know, you shouldn't really press number 2. I do all the time though. I just say, yeah, do whatever you want. But I'm going to just go slow. So I'm just going to select number 1 and say, yeah, proceed. And just take everything slow, and that way we can go through. Okay, so this is like, these red things are scary, but it's like, yeah, it's just going through it. And so here's the code that it created. Ramsey Coach. So this is basically like, here's gonna be the general overview of what you're building. Node, React. This is all like the code. Like there's gonna be a bunch of files containing this stuff. So this is your framework. And do you want to make this edit to package.json? Yeah. So you're just approving these edits when you press 1. So yeah, I approve. And you don't have to know what any of this stuff means, by the way. I mean, it's good. You can say, okay, it's like, this is the name of my project. It's version 1, right? This is the first modification. Oh, and I should say, like, this will like blink like crazy. This will go crazy as you as you do this. Don't worry about it. Like, this will go nuts. It'll be like, you'll see. It'll go nuts. Don't worry about that. Just keep going. So now it's making another change, and you can kind of see this. Allows true. So this is tsconfig.json. This is your config file. And remember, we copied, the contents of that, what was it? The settings. I think this isn't quite that yet, but it's one of those JSON files, tsconfig. But anyway, we just allow this. Has these configurations, ESLint, so that's the, yeah, ESLint and git ignore, so it has this image domains. Next.config.js, okay. Okay, so Tailwind. Tailwind is like your styles. So here's these colors, and it creates these primary colors and secondary colors for the site. So that's what that is. Anything having to do with Tailwind is that. This is just the configuration file, like settings, extends. like most of this stuff is just like you're not really gonna know what it means. Like I don't know what like a lot of this stuff means, honestly. If I'm honest, I kind of know like a general overview, but like git ignore files. So yeah, here's the thing: you want to ignore environment.local, especially like, and then environment, because this will store what is called environment variable keys. And then, these other things you got to ignore too. Like these contain sensitive information. So that's what this file is about, git ignore, okay? And we'll add stuff into the environment local, and you'll kind of see why you ignore at least this file. This is going to store your keys so that nobody can access some of your services other than you. Okay, so you add that. And so you can kind of get a feel for what it's doing, right? You don't have to know, you know, all of the different, super super complicated code. It's kind of nice to just have a feel for what you're doing, and you'll kind of get more used to it. So this is a command, so it's here's the command. We know this one, right? Make dir. It's creating this file. Okay. So it's just doing all this stuff. Thinking. What are you thinking about? Good. And now let me update the to-do list. So just create those little notes, and you can see what it's thinking. Okay, so here's another one. So this is just an example. So this is a placeholder for these things. So it's creating this and saying, okay, you're gonna have an Airtable base ID, and that's gonna be our database where we store our client data. And so it's creating that as just an example. So I wrote these lines. These, by the way, with these hashtags, these are just comments. So these don't do anything. Okay, so what it's telling you is it's saying these are a lot of times these are instructions. So you can actually go here. It's telling you to do this. And it'll open up a window. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a new account in Airtable. If it doesn't give you this, by the way, you can go into Airtable yourself. I think did we already do that before and just create an initial account? I think we did, but if not, you can go into your Airtable account, and this will lead you right to the tokens. So, and I'll tell you what to do with that maybe later in this video, I'm not sure, but you're going to want to remember this. So you might want to bookmark this so that you don't have to go into settings and like find your developer tools in Airtable. You can just bookmark this, and that'll be good. Okay, make this edit, sure. So let's see here. So it's importing Airtable. And so it's doing this, so it's able to process this stuff. And then these are going to be the table names. So const table tables. So this, I think it's getting, I think if I'm correct on this, I think it's assuming that your table name is going to be consultations. But you can name it whatever you want. But just make sure you tell Claude, hey, this is the name of my table, not consultations if you rename it. It'll probably pick up on it if, as you start creating. Just be cognizant of like sometimes it creates defaults and you have to kind of steer it in the right direction. So I'm pretty sure that's what it's doing. So just be aware of that and just say like, hey, this is the context. Give the AI, give Claude the full context of what you're doing. So that's important anyway. So timezone.ts. So remember we were creating like the time zones for the consultations. So that's what this is. So it's creating all this. It's creating these, these time zones, detectors, and saying, okay, like, and here are the comments too. These green portions, these are also comments. So sometimes comments look different. Sometimes they start with hashtags. Sometimes they start with this. Sometimes they'll start with this, and then this means all of this. No, hold on. What is this? It's weird. Target time zone. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I thought this was a comment. Now I'll have to go back. And I don't know basic code anymore. I thought all of this meant comment, but I might be wrong. Because I thought this should be green, but maybe it is still a comment and it's just kind of like highlighting it. But the green is usually the comment, and so you can kind of just read what it's doing in there. So get friendly time zone display name. So it's kind of just like it's creating this code and then it's saying what the code does. Get user's time zone abbreviated. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be that intimidating. You don't have to know everything. You can just kind of like read the comments. And you should read the comments at first. You shouldn't just press edit everything, especially when you're starting out. Really try to get a feel for like, what your project is all about. It's just good practice to kind of see, get familiar with at least what the files are all about, right? Like these, config files, they're configurations, right? They're settings. The tailwind, although this is just the config too. This is a configuration of Tailwind, but Tailwind files, the CSS files, are going to be your styles. So here's exactly what I was talking about. So this is your global styles.css. That's your styles. So this is going to be like kind of your overall stuff. This is going to affect everything in your site. So I won't get into like the weeds of all this stuff, but basically like these mean like your headings. So you have different headings for different text. So heading 1 is going to be, you know, one style, heading 2, typically another style, heading 3. And so for right now, all of the headings are going to be applied with bold font, and this text secondary means like, I think it means like a, man, this is embarrassing actually. I don't know what CSS styles are anymore. But sometimes it's like sizes. I don't know though. H1, so it's giving you all of these different like basically like sizes and styles and it can also do like colors within here, but leading relax, so it's just like a format. But anyway, that's that. So apply, and so it's just creating all of these automatically. Like imagine doing this all yourself. Like this is when I say before you needed like a team of developers to do this stuff. Yeah, I wasn't kidding. So, and you can open all these up. And this is not even close. This is not even close to what you'll have with the full site. Like you will just keep adding and adding all these files, and it's all filled. Like it's one thing if it's like a document file that you can read, but it's all filled with this like gobbledygook that nobody understands unless you've gone to college for 4 years or more for this stuff, right? I don't even know what this like more than half of this stuff, probably 90% of this stuff means. Like if you ask me to code any of this stuff, like I wouldn't know. Like I kind of know what I want, but that's because that's like where the prompt is, but like click outside. So I know what this does probably, at least this part. So what this does is when your mouse clicks outside of a window, it'll probably close it, right? Okay, so yeah, it says close menu when clicking outside. So it'll handle the click and it'll do a mouse event. So that means click. That's the mouse event. And so whenever I see stuff that I know, like I know what it does, I get a little bit excited. Because it's like, yeah, I'm not very good at this. Like I said, I have a computer science degree and I just, man, all of it is out the window at this point. It's been more than a decade since I actually coded anything. Anyways, I'll fly through this. It's already 7:34, but it's important to kind of know some of this stuff. So I'll go a little bit quicker on this stuff. But this is going to be where we live here. Right component, story modal. Okay. So here's a modal. So that just means like it's a pop-up thing that happens when something clicks. And I'll just kind of like summarize kind of what some of these are. Modal is an important term. It's different from like window or interface or display. They're all very similar terms. But a modal is something that usually it'll pop up if you click a button. It'll display something that is in front of your original screen. So hero, so this is like your This is on your main page. Story. So not a ton of comments here. Trust indicators, hero image. So here's a placeholder for your image that you'll add later. And we'll get into that later. I'll tell you where to add your images. You have to do that outside of this. You kind of have to do that manually. But what you can do, you know, obviously you have to get your images from outside somewhere and select them. And what you can do though is you can put the images in the particular folder that you need. And this, Claude can actually format them correctly. So they can be in different sizes and stuff, and they can be off here and there a little bit with their, you know, with how they look. And Claude can format them. Now the thing to note though is AI can't actually see stuff, right? Like I'm looking at this screen and I'm looking at this. Claude just has this code and it's like, that's how it reads it. It's not like a human eyeball. So if you're like looking at your site and it looks like bad, that's for you to decide, not for Claude to decide, right? Claude can't recognize like beauty. So this is your testimonial section. Okay, so it's just adding kind of like a way to give testimonials. So that's good. That's the file that we want. Oh, and it's giving a first like testimonial. So you can expand what it did here too. And if you ever want to go back to what it did, rather than pressing Control O, you can go into here. So you can press Control and then bring it up, and you'll pull this up. You'll actually put this in, and then you can press Control O again and watch what it's doing, right? So you can also say like, hey, I don't want anything hard-coded in here. You can also say that. You can kind of interrupt it and be like, you know what? I don't want anything hard-coded yet. I don't want this hard-coded person in here. This is just some imaginary user that it made up. And you know what? I really don't want that. But I'm just going to keep it in here. It's kind of nice to have these initially just to see how they show up, you know, how they look. But you don't really want a fake testimonial, right? Generally, you don't want that. Okay? You want an actual person, an actual testimonial. So, you know, just something to look out for. You don't want a lot of those going into your code. And if you don't prompt it correctly initially, it will create those all over the place, depending on the app or the website that you're trying to create. It will create these everywhere, and they're just a pain, you know. But they're pretty easy to get rid of. You can just tell Claude like, hey, you added a bunch of sample data. Get rid of it, right? And it'll search for it all and get rid of it all, generally speaking. But sometimes it can miss things that it previously added. And so you just want to be aware of what it's doing, right? And you can kind of see, like, you can kind of guess what this is. Like, even if you don't have any experience, you might not know what this is. What does hard-coded mean? I don't know. But you can kind of see, like, okay, first name, last name, and there's a note here. Where would this be? Okay, it's a testimonial. Okay, so you can kind of just deduce and use your Sherlock Holmes skills and just kind of figure out this is probably that. So you can kind of read through read through the comments a little bit, skim it, re-enable navigation, navigate. Complex booking modal. Okay, so now it's creating the calendar. The booking modal. With time slots. And this is kind of like, it's creating the functionality for this. So booking modal.tsx, set email. Yeah, I mean, I could go through some more of that code, what it means, but I think I'm just gonna, we gotta hurry it up here. We got 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes to get this going. I might just press 2. I think you kind of all get the gist of what's going on here. It's gonna think and it's gonna create and it's gonna think and it's gonna create, and there's gonna be a lot of the stuff that probably don't know 99% of what it's talking about. Even the comments, like, it's okay if you don't understand what re-enable navigation after transition means, right? It's not really like hard-coded footer, so that's your footer. So that should be where your your location information, your contact information. So you can kind of see like, what's it doing here, right? And you can kind of make notes on, okay, so it's giving, placeholders. So I need to fill those in later, right? It's going to create a lot of these placeholders. So I need to fill this in, right? Mail to, this is the link that it's creating. So you're going to want to make sure, you take note of this. These are just placeholders for now. You're going to have to give it more information. You're going to have to say, no, I actually want my actual email in there. I don't want a placeholder email. And no, I don't want I don't want an imaginary user that gave me a testimonial. I want an actual testimonial. Here's what I want. Right, and so you're not going to be done creating your site after all this. I know it's a lot, but you're going to want to edit and do all kinds of things. Fill in the blanks, make changes, style changes, whatever you want. Document. Okay, so that's just some document file. Nobody knows what this means. I'm sure somebody does, but I kind of do. I mean, it's like, it's kind of like grabbing this stuff. This is the outline of your site. Let me make sure we're on track here. So, okay, so we were supposed to do. We did get GitHub and CLI. Okay, so yeah, we're doing the test commands. So yeah, this is the fun part. So when you all install Claude CLI, this is where it's fun, because you're creating, right? And it's very, very fast. It's like you're commanding a team of developers to do all this stuff. And it's all for $20, right? This used to cost companies like literally tens of thousands of dollars and months to do. Right? So you're just like the contractor. And you're just watching all this stuff being created. It's awesome. It's like cheating. It feels like cheating, right? Like, oh yeah, your 4 years of computer science, you don't need that. You just saved 4 years of your life for $20. You're welcome, right? It's like what AI did for everybody. I don't know what that went. What was that? Okay, so let's see here. Privacy policy. So yeah, we created a privacy policy. So that's something that it normally doesn't create. But yeah, this is something that I added. And so it's good to have, right? Privacy policy. This is not a default. Like a lot of this stuff, if you just said, hey, create a website for me, a financial coaching website, super broad like that, it wouldn't create a lot of this stuff. Like it wouldn't create, probably wouldn't even, it might not even create like a testimonial section. It'll probably create like, it would probably create like a story modal, maybe. It might not even create that. It would have hero section. It would have a header and a footer, but it might not have like any of this booking functionality here. And so you have to make sure in your initial prompt that you're kind of giving the layout of what it does. You can always add stuff later. It's not like if you don't add this stuff, you can't add it. But it's kind of nice to just like have it all up front and just, okay, terms of service, yeah, sure. I'm not really going to worry about that. If there's a different terms of service that I want to include, I'll add that. Holy smokes, though, we are. I think I might have to press 2 and just let it go. I'm not really changing anything anyways. I might as well just like give it free reign. I just don't want to be a bad example and press 2. You shouldn't do that. Don't be lazy. I know it's tempting. I know it's like if you're like a kid and you have like presents in front of you, it's Christmas Day, and your parents go like, "Nah, we have to eat breakfast first. No, we have to wait for your Aunt Cindy to show up. Here's just a README file. This is all text. This isn't code. These .md files, these are all just text. So you should read these. So this is what it has set up. It's like, okay, it's assuming that your Airtable is gonna be like with these names. Field name, field type, options, descriptions. So you want to make sure all of your Airtable stuff matches. We can close out of this. It still exists. All this stuff still exists. We can close out of this and replace it with. Where did that Airtable file go? I should have made a note of it. npm install dependencies, readme. This is a readme. Oh yeah, here we go. So this will give you like the overview. Professional Next.js website using Web Launch Academy methodology, features mobile first responsive design, Airtable integration, clean nature. You should read this. Actually, this would be good for everyone to read. Styling, Tailwind CSS, database, Airtable deployment, on Vercel, recommended. That's a host. You can deploy it on NetLifey, but I would say deploy it on Vercel since we're using, especially because we're using Next.js. Next.js is a Vercel dependent or a Vercel framework. Prerequisites, Node.js, we installed that. Airtable account. You might have to install npm actually. I don't think I went over that. I don't think I had you install npm. So if something doesn't work, it'll usually ask like, "Hey, do you want to install npm?" Like you're asking me to do this stuff, but you don't have npm installed. And so I have npm. All right, make directory, source pages API, sure. Clone repository, so you can do cd Ramsey coach, npm install, set up environment variables, copy the example environment file. Okay, what just happened here? Testimonials.ts, sure. Availability, so this is your, I think that's like your booking availability. Booking, yeah, so it's working on booking. And so you can basically just hit, just make sure you like look at them. Run build, that's just a command. Okay, so moving on, copy the example environment files. Edit environment local. So this is environment local is what you actually want to focus on. Environment examples is not. That's not important. And then you're going to want to replace this with your actual keys, your keys and tokens and all that stuff. Equals. This is going to be like a string of crazy numbers and stuff. Airtable instructions below. So this localhost, this is actually where you're going to be testing your code most of the time. You can do like localhost 3001, 3002, and then that'll be here. You can even add port. You can like add it here. You don't have to do this though. Whoops, did I like I don't know, I messed that up, but you can add it. You don't have to do that though. When you do a command that I'll show you later, it'll automatically do that. Okay, so airtable.ts. So it's just like, here's the functionality for that stuff. Okay, so it says create a new base called Ramsey Coach Bookings, or any name you prefer. Airtable.ts. Okay, so testimonials. Okay, good. Create 3 tables with the following schemas. So it's telling you you have to do this. If you don't do it in that format, or if you have something different, some different names here, then, so first name, and you have to do it exactly in that. Like you have to have this capitalization. Booking type. Or it might not be this capitalization, but it's in basically like these, these names have to match. Again, I don't know if it's these names, but it's like those might be the variables. Okay, so there's your format. But it will instruct the variables to be named a certain thing. And if they don't match up, then you're going to have an error every time. Every single time you're going to have an error. And it's going to be hard to figure out, like, why do I get an error? It's hard to match, like, exactly, oh, this is capitalized, this letter is capitalized, this letter isn't. So what you want to do is you want to add this slowly. Add this stuff very slowly, one field at a time. Holy moly, we only have 4 minutes left. Look at all this stuff we did though. Let me try to build again. Table 2, testimonials, consultations, testimonials, availability. You'll need to populate the availability table with your available time slots. Here's an example script to help you create slots. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 30-minute intervals. Manual create records in Airtable. Okay, so you just follow these instructions. And if you need help, you can always paste those instructions into another window of Claude, like Claude AI. And then you can just type in, hey, I don't know what it means here. And so you can have Claude essentially talking to itself. And so you're never going to be lost, right? So a lot of your struggle is going to be like, you can solve a lot of these problems by just saying like, hey, I got an error here in my console, and then just like copying and pasting it in here. Same thing with this. If you're like, I don't understand what this is, open a window of Claude AI and paste it in there. Right? Say, I don't understand this. Okay, so it did it. So here's the test production. So it's giving you like these instructions here. A lot of the instructions that it gives you here, some of it's going to be in here, but this is going to be like the overview of it. So actually we finished before, and I'm going to run this really quick. npm run dev is how you create a testing environment. And see, here's the local host. So if this doesn't pop up, you can press Control and then left click here, and it'll open. So either way, it'll open. So here's what we got. So pretty good page, right? Home, here's the navigation links, testimonials, you click this, it does that. Go to contact, and so this contact is a whole new page. So this is what we created, right? Pretty cool. And that's a good place to end on. We have a minute left, but this is what you get, just with a simple prompt. You get all of that code, right? All of these files, and it creates that. And obviously, you're gonna add to it. You're gonna put your image here. My story, book free consultation. So it's a call to action. So here's this modal, right? Crosses these out. Pretty cool, right? And you can, hopefully, oh, here's an error. So this is the error counter. So what you can do is you can, you'll run into these, and you can copy this and say, hey, I got this error, but we can actually read this. So here's the reason. Airtable credentials are not configured. So tomorrow we'll get into Airtable and configure all of these, all of these things so that your website can talk to your Airtable service, your database service, which is Airtable. So that's it. It's 8 o'clock. Not wasting any more of your time. Thank you for everyone who showed up, everyone who is watching. It's been really fun creating this. This is like the best part. And from here, it's all downhill. No, just kidding. No, we'll get through it. We'll get through. We'll add functionality in this week and in the coming in the coming days. We'll connect to all your services, including Vercel, which is your host, Airtable, GitHub. All of that will be connected, and it'll be great. All right. I'm gonna pray. Thank you, God, for this cool thing that we have. It's just so great. Thank you for everyone who showed up, who is in the actual session, in the live session, and just help everyone to be able to create their own site and be able to serve their clients with this. In your name I pray, amen. All right, thank you so much. I will sign off. Bye, everybody. Okay.